All right, now we're talking. We have the Boeing 747-8. This is the most recent version of the 747, and I'm absolutely in love with the displays here. Everything looks absolutely solid. We've got some pretty good control settings here. I mean, just this honking controller, and I just love how high off the ground you sit in this place. We're presently here at Atlanta. This is a Hatfield-Jackson. You can see the distinctive control tower off there in the end. I mean, we've got absolutely everything up here. I imagine the circuit breakers aren't going to work. Aw, an op. What a bummer. Oh, we do have an APU at least, so things are going to be pretty good for those folks who like to do a realistic startup. All right, taking a look down here at our FMS. Do we get any of this? Let's hit the index button. We can do idents. That looks pretty good quickly. Looks like we have our position indicated. Let's see if it actually works here, because this is definitely something I'd be interested in. We'll say this is our reference airport. Oh, gorgeous. So theoretically, it should actually remember that I just typed that in. One thing that I would like, though, let me go ahead and pop that in real quickly. That's a bummer. Let's see, we're going up to JFK or something again. I'm just very curious to see kind of what we have. Again, we're trying to explore all these different options. Interesting, it doesn't ask me to activate. Let's go to the next page real quick. Okay, so if we wanted to go via Baltimore, for example, I could just type that in real quick. Hit 2. And they're just going to ask us for which one we want to use. We want to pick that one. There's activate. Activate, execute. All right, okay. Good so far, good so far. Let's go to the perf page. Let's double check to see here. We have a cost index, so we'll just do an absurdly high cost index for this. Let's see, our cruise altitude is 100 feet. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Oh, we can't do cost index. What a bummer. All right, in that case, we'll do flight level 350. We'll go up to here. All right, looks a little bit better. Looks a little better. We can dial in the reserves. Okay, looks pretty good. Thrust limitations. We'll make sure we're set to takeoff 1 here. Climb 1 looks good. Takeoff 10 degrees of flaps is recommended. Our rotate speed is 178. Interesting that they don't have the button down here for that. That's cool. We have our little progress page. Oh no, no progress page. All right, well, it's a pretty neat take on the FMS anyway. Let's go ahead and get this bucket rolling then. Go ahead and slap myself 10 degrees of the old flaps here. Jump back to my front seat. Again, we're still having a little bit of those frame issues here. And again, I'm going back and forth between each one of these videos to kind of tweak it just a little bit to see if I can get it to behave a little bit. But it just has not quite worked as well as I wanted it to. All right, flaps are in position. I should theoretically be able to hit the toga button and just get this thing ripping, depending. I'll do flight director. Auto throttle is armed. We have LNAV, we got VNAV, we got all that other good stuff. Let's go ahead and actually take the time to set this up, because I have a feeling quite a few people are probably going to want to operate this aircraft. Go ahead and set this. Do we have a big arrow and a little arrow? Okay, it's a little different in this version, but that's all right. Okay, that's definitely a flight simulator thing to do, is to make it kind of run away. It looks pretty good. We should get lateral and vertical navigation. Okay, I like that. I like that. So the toggle button sits right on the side of the actual throttle. That is the starter, and I'm just going to do it manually in this case just to make things a little bit easier for us. But again, we might as well test to see if it works. Let's go ahead and snap my head correct. Go ahead and push my throttle forward a little bit here. Now, the interesting thing about a 747 is it's kind of a dying breed because of the fact that it is a 4-engined aircraft. There's not a lot of other 4-engine aircraft still out there in the market at this time. This thing is powered by 4 Gen X's. Each one of those is about 66,000 pound-force of torque. Or I should say torque. Why would there be torque? Thrust, which is quite a bit. If you want to think about it another way, it's kind of like a CF6, but it's just a little bit souped up. Looks like our trim is just a teeny tiny bit off. The nose wants to lift already. Give it a little tiny tug here. Very nice. One of the things you always want to watch out for big airliners like this is smacking that tail onto the ground. That's just embarrassing. All right, we are up, geared up. Nice. And you can see that we even have the little notings right there on our speed tape to tell us when we need to bring up each setting. All right, that's nice. Go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of trim. Pop up that first notch of flaps. That looks pretty good. Bring up our next notch of flaps. Getting a warning about landing gear not being down. Apparently I just got an angry call from air traffic control. I haven't played with that too much yet. All right, now if this were a true one, yeah, there it goes, there it goes. Okay, so the FMS does look like it is behaving properly. It's just my awful flying here that is not behaving properly. I'll give myself just a little tiny bit more trim there. Oh boy, that frame rate is not so happy. All right, let's swing over to the right. Go ahead and smash Command A. And that should be enough to get this thing fairly stable. Yeah, looks pretty good. Now while we're in Command A, we can kind of take a look outside. Interesting, you've got that auto-adaptive light there. You can see the city of Atlanta right there on my left. I'm sure the neighbors love me again because I'm just sort of tearing over their houses. Yeah, definitely having a little bit of issues with that, but that's okay. All right, that looks pretty good. Notice it's kept 250 automatically because we're under 10,000 feet. Let's see what's going to go. What happens with this? I should be able to flip this to center mode. Okay, interesting, interesting. Do we get plan mode? Interesting, but still pretty cool. Let's zoom out just a little bit here. There it is. Hey, beautiful. Ah, love it already. So this is definitely a solid take on this particular aircraft. A little disappointed that some of the stuff overhead doesn't work, but at least we have an FMS that mostly works, and we could probably use it for some other stuff a little bit later on. But again, those will probably be future videos. I'm not going to run this aircraft through a stall. It's just a wee bit too big if you've ever actually seen just the pure size of this thing to be doing something. Look at that. We have a little AOA indexer. That's so cute. Oh, this is so cool. This is a neat take on a VFR vision, and it's nice and loud out here too, which is like even better. All right, goodbye, Atlanta. You've been very, very fun. I'm definitely going to have to spend some more time with this aircraft, but so far it looks like a pretty solid implementation. Enjoy.